be back.
Punch it!
Just in the background of the beat. Bum, 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 bum. Welcome back, guys. It's episode number 127 of Hyperspace Hype. 127, kind of similar to my birthday, 11/27, but it's not my birthday, dear viewers. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow, May the 4th, the born to be the Star Wars Jesus himself, Evan Harris, ladies and gentlemen. It is his birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Evan.
Thank you. I forgot about that. No, I didn't, but birthday days are always weird. It's like, oh yeah, I guess tomorrow I'm turning a whole other year. 29.
Oh, a cake for me? Oh.
Yeah. My kids already think I'm old as fuck, but it's great. Great
students,
to be
that
here.
is. You are not.
Yeah, my students. I'm 29 years old. Yeah, my students are all like, oh, dang, Mr. Harris. We were talking about music or something. And I was like, come on, guys, Black Eyed Peas, like, boom, boom, pow. They're like, what? I was like, come on.
Not that long ago. What are your parents playing in the car?
Right? I mean, like, I was like, this is 2008 was like the end.
You're so 2000 and late.
Yeah.
Unintentionally.
I was like, come on, guys, Sonia. I got a feeling. What's up, Sonia? But yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow. They are going to air the Star Wars Tales of the Underworld episodes. 6 episodes covering, the first half is going to be all about Asajj Ventress. I saw the first episode at Celebration. I thought it was pretty good. And then the other half is going to be about Cad Bane, which should be very interesting. I saw some people who already watched some of the episodes on Fortnite because they did that for some reason. That was weird. But I'm hearing similar vibes about like what happened to Tales of the Empire, Tales of the Jedi. Some stories better than others, but I think we should save our Tales of the Underworld review for like after we finish our Andor season 2 discussions.
Okay.
There's no rush for Star Wars, especially because nothing's happening this summer because they, crammed Andor into 4 weeks. So we have all summer to talk about Underworld and stuff. I was also thinking like we should do similar to what we did with the Acolyte. Like we had so much fun talking about the Acolyte, and then we rewatched the Acolyte together. We should rewatch Andor over the summer together.
Okay.
If we have time, I would love to watch all 12 episodes. We probably don't have to do 3x3x3x3, but
I mean, if they're built as arcs,
we could do something. I mean, I know we can,
You don't have to convince me to watch long things. I have to convince you.
Oh, I'm saying like we complained about Andor being like so crammed. Are we going to cram our commentaries too?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm watching Andor live on Tuesday night, which is insane, by the way.
I'm down for the ride. It's just that I would love to rewatch some of these episodes. I don't have time to rewatch a lot of Andor episodes, especially because there's 3 episodes a week. I'm not usually rewatching. I am rewatching certain scenes. I just finished rewatching the Saul and Wilmon monologue, which I thought was excellent from episode 5. And then the Andor and Luthen argument at the beginning of episode 6 was really good. So great scenes. I didn't have the heart to rewatch the end of episode 6 because that was heartbreaking. Yeah. But we are here to discuss Andor season 2 episodes 4 through 6. Overall, Nathan, I thought this was fantastic. A step up from the first arc, which was good. Not that I didn't like the first arc. The first arc was really good, but again, for Andor, similar to last season, everything is just escalating in terms of like building up and up and up and up and up. I think Andor season 1, I think the Narkina 5 arc might be the best arc of Andor, but the last 3 episodes are still very, very strong. And then similar to that, this season, like episodes 4 through 6, is a bit more tighter structurally, and a lot more filled with just excellent writing. I think this is Beau Willimon who wrote the Narkina 5 arc, wrote this
Right.
batch of episodes for Andor season 2, and I just loved it. A lot of the Gorman stuff, big Gorman focus, which was necessary. This is technically a setup arc for the massacre that we all know is happening in episodes. Now we know, at least it's confirmed to be happening in episodes 7 through 9.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what do you think of this arc overall, Nathan?
I think it was very well done. I was captivated by the route that it was taking for a lot of characters, especially Cyril. But my biggest standout was the domestic relationship between Cassian and Bix. That was my favorite stuff, the entire arc.
Oh, I agree. I love that stuff. I think my favorite was what you mentioned previously, the whole Cyril spy stuff. That was wild. And I love that sense of discovery too, because we go in there and I'm like, how much does Cyril know about his new position? What's going on here? But then slowly starts to unravel that he knows more than they do, and he's like knowing that they're onto him. So just that discovery of what Cyril knows, what Dedra knows, what's going to happen, it was all very intriguing. But yeah, the Bix and Cassian stuff, Adriana already teased that like we're going to dive into more of their romantic relationship between Bix and Cassian this season and how it coalesces with the rebellion. And I thought that was all very informative and intriguing in this arc. And then at the end, we this is full spoilers for Andor season 2, episodes 4 through 6, obviously. But yeah, at the end of the arc, we lose Cinta, which was just brutal and heartbreaking. Jalen and brother figured that something bad was going to happen as soon as she appeared.
Wow.
Because we were saying like as the heist is getting on, it felt more like I have a bad feeling about this. Specifically, Jalen mentioned how specifically Jalen mentioned how like in that discussion with Vel about like Luthen wants us apart more than together. We'll talk about that in more detail. But basically, He was like, I'm getting parallels to Cassian and Bix, and the parallels like might just be about the like struggle of a relationship in a rebellion. And if something goes bad there with Vel and Cinta, then something might go wrong or something might get better for Cassian and Bix. But either way, I just had my alarm bells ringing. I was kind of denying it. I'm like, nothing bad's gonna happen. But as the heist went on, I'm like, oh no, like gee, I was just so worried the whole time.
You know me, I never see things coming.
Were you not worried though?
I mean, I was worried in the sense that Cyril's setting them up, so like I figured it might all end up being for naught, but I figured like, hey, I got my girls back together. I'm excited to further their development as a relationship because they're communicating it through dinner. I love it. I did scream when I realized what happened to Cinta. You can watch it live. But yeah, I was so upset, and I sat back and I was like, please don't do this every arc. Don't do that.
Nathan, we're doing this every arc.
Who's next? So am I gonna have to like place bets every like the next couple weeks? Like who's
again
this time?
Let's do this here before we dive into the arc. Let's do this here because I think we're already talking about it. I'm with you. I think we are losing somebody every arc, and my prediction is Cyril, which I think people on the internet are also thinking the same thing.
I could see it if they're like setting him up to be some type of fall guy.
Yeah, a fall guy, but also because I mentioned in the first arc that like Cyril has like this position of power now, and he could be the fall guy towards something that happened on Gorman. But with the Gorman massacre, we know it's coming. I just think, especially with the whole Dedra like panic that we see in the trailer, seeing more beneath the mask from her and how that relationship was unfolding in the first arc and how it unfolds here in this arc, I can just see Cyril's being in a dangerous predicament. He was already breathing super hard during just him spying on Vel and Cinta. I could see something going bad at this massacre. I could see him getting a stray bullet. And how does that unbuckle Dedra's whole mannerism and her ideas about relationships and ideas about, sacrifice? It'll be very interesting to see Dedra spiral out going into the final arc. Because I think Cyril will be a good shout. If it was because like if it's anybody in the rebellion, I don't know if that's like we know we know Mon and Cassian are Jesus. We know Mon and Cassian are fine, but like Bix, I think Vel is fine now too. I think Vel is fine. Like you kill Cinta, that just gives immunity to Vel for the foreseeable future, in my weak opinion. I think Vel is fine, but
or not.
Bix, I'm like Bix. I think it's gonna be fine. I think she outlives the show.
I think she's being thrown so much negative aspects that she will overcome.
I think so too. It's about overcoming. It's about the trials and tribulations for Bix. Like I don't see the point because I was arguing with somebody on Twitter. They're like, "Well, where's Bix and Rogue One?" I was like wouldn't
where's
Bix,
anybody who's not?
Yeah, like wouldn't Bix be with Cassian in Rogue One? And I'm like, well, A, Bix wasn't created then, but B, I don't think for Rogue One it was essentially a job, right? Like Cassian goes on so many jobs. Rogue One, the mission there is essentially a job. It's like a week. His job is to get, is to kill, whatever the fucking Gale Urso. His job is to kill Gale Urso because of the information or whatever. And then after that, it quickly spirals into, okay, Scarif. Like, there's not a lot of time for him to just say, like, Bix, get over here, or something like that. It's a very quick aspect. So I can see Bix just not being part of that. Same thing for Vel. I think we lose Cyril in next arc and Luthen in the finale. Because we're going to go to bad on the Imperial side, and then we're going to get another Rebel hit, and we're going to see Luthen. This arc in particular dives into with the whole revolution is not for the sane. That arc and going all the way back to Luthen's monologue. I'm a sunrise I'll never see. Like both Saul and Luthen are building structures for a republic that they'll never see in their lifetime, which is so unfortunate. I just see Luthen just having this not ticking time bomb because he's not like reckless, but just a ticking clock on him. I'm gonna bawl when he dies, if he dies, because he's so pivotal that like something bad has to happen. I don't see him walking away. That's the thing.
I was a few weeks back. I was just for the fun of it. I was pitching the idea of like, let's continue the style of an Andor show with like Mon or somebody, but like have it go congruent with the original trilogy of just the rebels like trying to figure stuff out while Luke and everybody are doing their shit during the movies. And then Jalen replied of like, Luthen was freaking out when Luke turned off his targeting computer. And I was responding. I was like, yeah. Luke was probably like, yeah, I was just feeling it. And then Luthen is like the fucking SpongeBob fish. Like, you what?
You what? That the way he says what is peak comedy.
What'd you do to my drink? You have to watch SpongeBob, Evan.
We do. So yeah, I think we're in for a lot of pain and suffering every single arc. Because I think Cyril is going to be a big, because we love Cyril. We love Cyril. He's a crazy guy, but he's not like the worst of the worst either.
Over under the chance of the final, like one final scene in the show being post Rogue One. Any character.
Wow.
Or is it all stopped before?
Under. I'm pretty sold.
I think over if it's Bix.
Yeah, Bix is the only one who would have that like. No, I don't want to say it. I do want to say it. Imagine we get a post Rogue One scene of like Bix understanding the sacrifice that Cassian made, dude. That would break me in two. Like imagine Bix and B2.
Yes,
man,
that
would break me. That would make this the perfect show of all time. But I don't need it to. Like I can also see it just like simply just right into Kafrene on Rogue One, ending the show on Cassian, and yeah.
I gotta also say, I don't know if we see him next arc, but if we do, it'll be 2 years since we've interacted with B2.
You're right. Yeah, we didn't see B2 at all this arc. Yeah.
Yeah, that. Oh my God, is he just on the farm planet?
And I forgot. Yeah, we are getting K2 next arc. It has to be.
I'd hope so. I was like, I don't want just K2 in the last arc.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, you can't just save him for 3 episodes.
I want to build the friendship with Cassian.
Yeah, and the massacre is only going to be a few minutes. You know, not to be too light on the massacre, but it's going to be like they'll do like an episode of it. But like, I could see episodes 7 and 8 being about the increasing rise of Gorman Front, along with the discovery of K2SO.
Yeah, they made a distinction of the Tarkin massacre being a separate ordeal from the coming Gorman massacre.
They did, where Tarkin literally sat his ship on hundreds of people, which is disgusting and inhumane. But that's Tarkin for it.
But also something that very much could happen.
Very much so. But yeah, that was interesting. Jalen noted it. Was like, isn't that what happened in Legend? I'm like, I think so. That's interesting. So yeah, there's 2 massacres. The Gormans can't take a break in canon. That's insane.
Does the core of the planet fall apart from the mining?
No, it's fine.
Okay, so, yeah, there's stuff about the idea of Gorman when Luthen's talking to Cassian after his undercover. That is a great scene that I can't wait to discuss.
Yeah. But yeah, let's finally dive into episode 4. I don't have the titles with me. But yeah,
First Steps.
Episode 4, First Steps.
I believe the first episode's called Ever Been to Gorman?
Are you serious?
I think so. I think it's Ever Been to Gorman. Then I Have Friends Everywhere, I think is the title. And then like What a Special Gathering, I think is the last one, something like that.
Dang, okay, let me fact check Nathan's because he think he knows everything.
If I look at the description of this episode, it's not.
Oh, you have it on here. Oh,
it's in my.
Ever Been to Gorman? Boom, Nathan's right there. 1 point to Gryffindor.
I Have Friends Everywhere.
I Have Friends Everywhere. 2 points to Gryffindor.
What a Special Gathering.
What a festive evening.
Festive evening. Get fucked.
Krennic was on fire. That was fucking hilarious. That was great.
Okay. I love every interview that Ben Mendelsohn does in regards to Krennic. Is like, yeah, he's a lot more fruitier this era.
Did he say that?
He literally said it. It's like his spirits haven't been crushed by Tarkin yet.
I thought that was just the internet saying that, but Ben, I love you. Ben Mendelsohn's a gift. What a great gift. But even though I think I liked him more in Secret Invasion. Just kidding.
He's not bad.
He wasn't bad in Secret Invasion, actually. He was a bright spot, but man, that
in the one episode I
saw.
I'll catch up before Doomsday.
No, you won't.
Yeah, I will.
No, you won't.
Put money on this motherfucker. Give me a time limit. I'll do it. Give me a time limit. Give me a time limit. I'll watch it right now. I'll watch it as you're talking.
Shut the fuck up. Just like you play Spider-Man as we're talking back in the day.
Just because you see the light reflecting off my face as I swing through the building.
That's great. What's Carson up to? Do you think he watches these episodes at 9 o'clock like us, or are we just weird?
I don't know. I watch his letterbox, and it's the most like I don't know if he goes to the movies. He rewatched The Matrix, and I'm like, good for you, man.
Yeah.
You think he's seeing Thunderbolts? No.
No, probably not. My box office prediction is going to be very close for that, by the way. I said 78.5 million. It looks to be around 76, 75.
A far cry from my 215 million prediction that will one day.
Very far.
That's my prediction for Doomsday.
I was say keep that energy for Doomsday. That'll probably be right.
Yeah.
We haven't had a 200 plus grosser since No Way Home. No way. Wait, no. Was Deadpool 200 plus?
Probably.
No. Was
close? It might have been.
Deadpool and
Sinner.
Yeah. Box office.
Avatar?
Avatar 2? I don't think so.
That would have been a year after. I feel like Avatar 2 did.
211 for Deadpool and Wolverine.
I was close. Yeah, every day I get closer, Evan.
What'd you say?
215.
Oh yeah, 215. Yeah. Avatar 2 was that 200? No, 134 for Avatar 2. but it had legs for days.
Yeah.
Anyways, finally, let's go over episode 4 of this. Just similar to the last discussion, we're gonna stick at least with episode 4. Let's stick with certain relationships. So let's stick with your girl, Bix. I love what they're doing with Bix this season. Sucks to be Bix, but it's really captivating to watch. Episode 1 through 3, we're really diving into her struggles with, isolation away from Cassian. How she's handling her nightmares also away from Cassian. But now we see it together. And then she gets, pulled away from the one she loved. She loses Brazo and B2. And now she is with Cassian, the one she loves. The relationship has rekindled, which I love. Love this. And even though she is with Cassian, she has like that feeling of safety and warmth. She's still experiencing these nightmares. That's kind of where we start here in 3 BBY, where she is still experiencing these Gorst nightmares. But this was kind of like elevated Gorst nightmare, where he's not only torturing her, but he's torturing somebody that he says Bix and Cassian killed. And as Cassian later informs us, this was a previous mission that they went on together. Somebody saw Big's face, and this young Imperial operative seemingly had to die. And it's haunting Bix much more than it's haunting Cassian. I think this arc is all about the burden, or the supposed burden, of relationships and the struggles with how people are handling their relationships in the context of the rebellion, or for the Empire with Cyril and Dedra in the context of the growth of the Empire. But yeah, what do you think about this nightmare scene from Bix and the early days of Bix and Cassian's relationship on Coruscant? By the way, let's talk about this again. Coruscant, they're on Coruscant. When they were doing this, I was like, are they on Coruscant? Like, it felt weird to me. I read a lot of Jedi stories and stuff. It just feels like Coruscant is the heart of the Empire. That's dangerous as hell. But I guess it's only dangerous if you're a Jedi. If you're just a smuggler or a rebel on the ground, it still is super dangerous, but it's not as dangerous as a Jedi would be on Coruscant. That'd be going to hell.
It's interesting. They're not even in the lower levels of Coruscant. They're on the bottom, but the surface of the planet. But it seems like low status enough that they're shopping at a bodega type shop.
7-Eleven.
Yeah, it's not like your average where Mon's flying through. And that's interesting too. It's whenever we see the higher ups traveling, they're always in the skies every floor they visit. So it literally, the elevation of status. Go watch Parasite if you don't understand. But
yeah, great movie.
Yeah, but yeah, this scene was very compelling. It just further drove home my sadness for Bix. I want her to be better, and I luckily think that we are on that path per the final scene of this arc.
Yeah, and what I like about it is that it's not too samey, because somebody could just on the surface be like, "Oh, it's just Bix. She's struggling again. Didn't we just watch this in episodes 1 through 3?" But this one's different. Now that she's with Cassian, it creates a whole new kind of unfortunate dynamic where they are so loving towards each other, but at the same time, it reminded me of Last of Us, where that love for each other, how much are you willing to lose? How much are you willing to gain for love in the context of violence?
This is something I picked up that I was very happy about. I hate when I'm in a situation where I'm like, oh, finally, I'm watching characters that I wanted to get together, and then they have a fight, and then things are terrible. Most, if not all, of the scenes that they share together domestically tend to go from romantic to a bit of a disagreement and argument. But from what I could tell, every scene does end up rekindling back to they're caring for one another. They don't leave the conversation in a negative light. They are able to, even if the conflict isn't fully resolved, they still fall into each other in a positive light, and that made me very happy.
they are still each other's safety net, and yeah, it never ends with Cassian or Bix shutting the door on one another. They have such open levels of communication, and this is so important for Cassian, who is already so closed off, especially when he goes on missions. But he's so open and vulnerable with Bix. There are some times where he just doesn't admit things. We'll talk about that, but it was all very informative. So yeah, apparently this guy saw Bix's face and the kind of makes Bix feel bad. Is she becoming a burden to Cassian? Maybe that kid, Imperial. I say kid because the guy when he was torturing him in the nightmare sequence, he looked pretty young to me.
Sure.
But yeah, and I like what Cassian says here. He says like nightmares will continue to get worse if you sit still. Cassian is the benefit of probably doing a lot of bad things for the rebellion, but he's always on the move. He's always getting these missions. Unfortunately for Bix, she's not always getting these missions.
She's stuck in the apartment.
She's stuck in the apartment. Luthen's not sending her out anymore. There was one scene where she's like, the next mission I'm 100% going, which was at the end of the arc, and she killed it. But yeah, so yeah, I like that. The shopping scene that you mentioned together was very lovely. Just oh my god, this show, guys. How is it real? Like the interior, the way the set design of Coruscant is both so drastically different from what you see in the prequels, even in The Mandalorian, season 3. But this was just so like not rigid, but just so like imperialistic and down and dirty.
It feels like New York in a way, like whereas like the movies and like you said, Mando is a bit more like the
opulent.
The high rises, the skyscrapers, the Times Square of it all. Say for like that bit in Mando. But then we're really in like the actual like boroughs, like the Hell's Kitchen type areas of Coruscant when we're with like Bix and everybody. It's a bit more run down. It's obviously nicer than probably what you're going to find in the lower like 13s, but it's still like not anything that you're going to find any of the high society individuals from the Chandrillan arc mingling in.
Yeah, exactly. I just love the set design. It adds so much character to the show, and the just the area that Cass and Bix are living in right now. But yeah, back at home, Bix is upset about killing the soldier. Was it really necessary? They're really talking about, and yeah, it just gets into like the whole line. That was somewhere. Where's the line in terms of like what's necessary and what's not? And Cass says, I mentioned here, it's very funny how Cass mentioned it was necessary for the job, but when he gets pressed by Biggs, it's like, was it for the job or was it for that he saw me? And Andor says, what's the difference? And it was just like, oh man, it's so interesting because like he shot the kid because he saw her face, but it's also the same thing as like, you're with me now. You are my rebellion. You are with me. The job and you are synonymous. And I feel like that's an important thing to discuss here because at the end of the arc, when he's having that conversation with Luthen, he kind of like admits that, he wishes he was alone at times. But he also loves Biggs. It's a very complex and interesting relationship where he loves her. He shot the kid for her. But also he shot the kid because he saw their face and they might go back to Luthen and all that kind of stuff. It's like, the power of secrecy, this need to be secret, this need to be away from people and away from prying eyes is causing a lot of friction, not only for Cassian and Bix, but for a lot of people, Vel and Cinta notably as well. So it's just very interesting. Like, what's the difference between Bix and or the attitude he has towards the rebellion and the attitude he has towards Bix? Because even Luthen presses him on it later on, where it's like, oh, you're willing to do all this for Bix, but you're not willing to help out the Gormans because of the Empire. Like, where's your line, Cassian? I just love how the show is like discovering that piece by piece.
Yeah, I do like that idea that Cassian is more, like you said, making the mission and Bix one. And I wonder how he's going to mold from that effect, because when I look to him in Rogue One, it does feel like he's very much like solely mission oriented. Obviously, not trying to make any connections with any of the Rogue One crew outside of K2, who he already trusts. But and God forbid that means something happens to Bix and he's closed off. I hope not. That said, it is interesting seeing Cassian's descent because right now he's not an ideal spy for Luthen with how emotional he is for Bix. He's very reckless. Like later, he goes to his shop in
Wild.
the episode. But then when I look to like the beginning of Rogue One, where he's like, he's killing off the informant who was very clearly seemed like an innocent person. He's pressing Jyn for any information. He won't let her have a blaster when they go out on the mission. It does feel like he molds into Luthen's golden spy.
Yeah. It's big on. I got big Rogue One vibes where when Vel and Cinta were like, only we hold the blasters. Like nobody else hold the blasters. The Rogue One is like, only I will get the blaster. Jyn, you're not holding any blaster. Because it's all about if I don't trust you, I don't want my life to be. I don't want to have to look behind my back. And it's just like that is kind of like a Luthen mindset there. Great point there. And then in the dinner scene later on in the episode, Cass admits that he fears losing her. Big Anakin energy there.
Understandable.
The fear of losing somebody.
I mean, especially after you've lost Brazo recently.
Yeah. It just goes into, just to wrap this up, it just goes into, again, the complex relationship. Cassian lost Brazo. He lost Marva, not his fault. But, and then he does not want to lose Bix. He wants to keep her close. But, from speaking from Bix's perspective, that need for like safety. And I got this from her, like this way, her facial expressions and everything like that. That need for like constant safety, it doesn't make her feel better about herself. And we see that trickling in episode 5 and 6 with Bix, where she is taking the drug now. It's just that, like, yeah, thank you, Cassian, for shooting the guy for me and keeping me safe and all that kind of stuff. But for me personally, Bix isn't, she's not like progressing. She's not evolving. She's stuck in this like quagmire, watching Good Morning Coruscant. So
it's
just bad.
It's a terrifying thought that like she has these nightmares of where she was imprisoned, but now being on the run, it kind of feels like it's another type of prison that she's isolated in, which is terrible. And I can definitely see an issue of her feeling like she has a lack of agency in her life. She believes in the idea of the cause, but it's like she says, like, if I'm gonna give my life to this, I want to win. I want to, have those victories in life. But if I'm just sitting here and I'm cooped up and I'm isolated and just hiding, it's like this isn't the fight I joined.
It gets me so interested to see where she goes in the next arc. Is she going to be continuing to be at this safe house, or are they going to be at another safe house? Is she going with Cassian back to Gorman? I have no idea where we go from here. I was pleasantly surprised by all the locations in this arc, so we'll see what happens. But speaking about Gorman, we get my favorite stuff here. This was just God. Like, I think I'm comfortable saying the Gorman set is my new favorite set in the entire series.
Wow.
Ferrix is a beautiful set as well, though. Ferrix is great layout for Ferrix. Narkina 5 set was awesome too, but it was just like a couple rooms. For Gorman, like, oh my God, the way the camera is able to like pan out to see Stero walking through the courtyard, gorgeous courtyard, despite the awful, the great monument for an awful event. And then just like the crowds there. I'm like, where did they film this shit? Like, it was just astonishing.
Yeah. Whenever I see one of the
alleyways
sets,
are also cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever I see one of these sets, I always like think I'm like, there's no way they just have all these built at the same time, right? Do you just like film every scene through the show here and then just dismantle, or do you save it for the next season? Because like this looks identical to season 1, like the boardroom in the Imperial place, and I'm just like, how the fuck? And there's got to be like a lot of like outdoor locations that they've built up, and they've just clearly just found like a good empty field with some good skyline and hills, and they're like, all right, let's build a town.
Right? Like this is one of those rare shows we can see where every single $200 million+ of this budget went to.
Give me a Disney gallery,
right?
Give me a Disney gallery.
Oh, they have those Andor declassified episodes
Oh.
that I haven't been watching. But after each episode, you can watch like an Andor declassified for 1 through 3, 4 through 6.
Oh.
I think it's on Disney Plus.
That's cool.
Browse the app, Nathan. Come on, fake fan.
All right. Well, they still don't have anything for the Acolyte, do they? And I'm sad too.
Yeah,
Happy birthday.
Thanks. Happy birthday, Harry. But
it gets down. Hey, May the 4th. We got more Acolyte stuff coming. Best day.
I would have to be like Nathan Emergency Podcast. That'd be the best day ever.
I'll do it.
We've done like one emergency podcast.
We did
our entire like 300 episodes of podcasting together.
I don't know if we did two. We did one legit emergency where it was like, what do you mean HBO is putting everything on streaming all year?
Oh man, yeah, I forgot that was an emergency one. I wasn't even thinking of that. I was thinking of the Star Wars D23 or the
I think
was that an emergency?
I don't know if it was an emergency, but we did it the same night. Comic-Con announcement for the Marvel Phase 4 through 6. It was like, oh, Secret Wars Part 1 and 2.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can't tell if
in
that
the
was
same
like,
year.
Yeah. I can't tell if that was like convenient timing on our part, but yeah, that was a fun podcast. That was crazy. Like, oh, well, I think we said on air, like, is that going to happen? Like, that's crazy. Can you imagine that, Nathan? Like, the balls and them to like advertise that. Like, who thought that was even viably possible?
I mean, The Matrix did it.
Yeah, but two Avengers movies in the same year is like. These actors.
I was like, "That's bold. Let's go." Like, I'll do it. Fucking, let's go. And I still am right now. I am. We're 1 year away from the next Avengers. Did you know that?
That's crazy.
They're filming now.
That's crazy to me. I still don't. I kill him. And those poor animators.
That's the bit. you gotta imagine pre-production was like, all right, make these scenes that don't require physical acting now. Like, start rendering those.
Oh yeah, big time. But I heard the script's not even finished. It's like Mission Impossible, where it's like, we're gonna fuck around and find out.
Look, man, Iron Man was built on that
20 years ago.
Hey, fuck it, almost 17.
We're closer to 20 years ago than not. But yeah, this gorgeous Gorman set. The courtyard is great. We get Cyril's new office layout was very cool. Yep. It reminded me of like an Imperial starship where you have like the bridge and you have like the two people on each side.
The pits.
Kind of reminded me of that.
Okay, damn, I didn't think about that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I love the Gorman people's original language. It's French influence.
Yes, I was like, this is big, and we know Tony is a huge history buff like me, but I'm like, this is big French resistance World War II, where like the the Nazis are drilling the French hard, and the French are notoriously not good, military at all, but they held strong. And the language, the like open, like it was kind of like an open door kind of thing. It was really beautiful. And yeah, their language overall was very French inspired, obviously.
Well, I guess like all the actors are actually like French speakers.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. But apparently like they had the full developed language. If to be believed, like they like would sometimes talk to each other offset in gore.
That's crazy. That's really cool. Yeah, it just goes to show like the devotion of this series.
Yeah. Meanwhile, if you try to translate Huttese, you cannot.
You cannot. But yeah, just progressing. I love discovering Cyril's whole plan. Some of the give and take with this being like 1 year later each arc. Each beginning episode is a lot of like, okay, where are we? What's going on here? What are we doing here? And it's not a detriment, but it is a different vibe from season 1, where everything was just like it flowed a lot more seamlessly. Each first episode from episode 1 to the last arc, and then episode 4 for this arc is just like, okay, is what's going on here? But I did like the discovery. I like piecing it together along with
I think
the show.
I think it's testament to how developed the characters are. Like, you could not do this in season 1.
No, you'll be so confused.
Yeah, if you're just hopping into a new situation, like, oh, okay, but like, well, yeah, now I need to understand like how would this character, but like because we know how each character is, especially someone like Cyril, we watch like his setup and we're like, okay, and it's more so intriguing of like what is the play here? Are him and Dedra separated now? Maybe not. Maybe she's using him stuff to explore like that. Obviously, his stuff with his mom's still bad. But then it's funny. There were bits where it's obviously not going that way, but there would be like one or two parts at the beginning of the arc where I'm like, they're not going to flip Cyril to the good side, right? Like, no way.
No, that's definitely every time I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, poor Gormans, because like I knew Cyril was locked in, but yeah, I was like, Cyril was locked in. He got a new job. I'm like, okay, my first instinct is Dedra placed him here, but does Cyril know about like the Gorman front? Is he aware about this? Or did Dedra place him here as like bait? And it's kind of two things at once where he technically is bait, but he knows he's bait for the Gormans. He's trying to egg on the Gormans by in terms of like him putting on this front seem more like F the imperial presence here at least. The way he's talking to his mother, he's still putting on a front. And it's just like he's saying all the right things on a phone call that he knows is bugged. So he is bait. He even ties his door, and he's glad that he got broken into. And then, of course, everything we know, everything we've been discovering is confirmed via the phone call he makes later that night by saying, yes, somebody has been into my door. I know they're bugging my office, the Gormans. In the courtyard, he got invited. He got a spider was sent to him during that courtyard scene as well. I skipped over the Gormans, obviously, like discussing if they even should bring him in, but they were like, they're desperate. I think we see the characters of Enza and Enza Rylands and Carl Rylands. Carl Rylands is a father, while Enza is a daughter, and then there's Sam, who I think isn't the brother, but just like an ally, a friend. Who we all hate because he shot Jacinta. So that's just the characters that we'll come to know and cultivate here over this arc. But it was just so much fun seeing Cyril in this spy stuff. He loves being like important for the Empire, so this is very important for him. And the public meeting was very riveting as well. Seeing Cyril involved in that public meeting, I skipped over that, but yeah, it was just cool seeing like this. The passionate people talk about the massacre, the Gorman massacre, that Nathan mentioned already with Tarkin. And then the bigger thing is that the Imperials are seemingly building an armory. They don't know if it's an armory, but that's the vibe here. Even though we audiences know this is confirmed because in episode 2, during the whole meeting about the Gormans, one of them did tell Partagast like I am considering building an armory, so and so. So like, it is an Imperial armory on the Gorman, on planet Gorman. The planet called Gorman, Gorma.
It's called Gorman,
Gorman. The planet's Gorman.
And it's towering right over the monument of those lost.
Yeah, which is just icky. But yeah, everything was just so riveting. The public meeting was riveting. They kind of invite Cyril in there. Somebody mentioned on Twitter like there's some gay energy going on there between one of the guys and Cyril. It was just very
a lot of gay energy in a lot of these actually.
Right. OG Gorman Massacre from Legends. Cyril found an ally. But yeah, just in general, what do you think is going to happen here with Cyril and this rebellion storyline? He's going to get invested in it. He already is invested in the continuing spy angle of it all. But by the time we get to episode 7, it'll have been a year. Is he going to stick with being a fake spy for over a year? That's going to make his whole dynamic very differently as we get into this this massacre that we know is going to happen. By the time we get to episode 7, he could be so invested that he's like, do we have to kill these guys? Like, wow. And I don't think he's aware of them being killed. I don't think Dedra, we know from like Partagast was telling Dedra, like, how much did you tell Cyril? I think he said something along the lines of like, how much are you telling him, him being Cyril? And It's just that I think Cyril knows the Empire is wary of rebels, and they're trying to catch rebels. And I think that just might be it for the information that Cyril knows. He doesn't know about like, hey, we need a special mineral for a special project. That's like only for the people at that meeting we saw in episode 1, 2, and 3. So Cyril doesn't know about that. So I don't think he's aware of them like actually possibly killing the Gormans. Now we know the Gormans aren't like they're not. The Empire isn't like, okay, on April 8th we're going to massacre these Gormans. I don't think it's as planned as that, but it's going to happen, and I think it's going to have a big effect on Cyril, his loyalties, and everything. Just watching the trailer again is just like a distraught face. Is how he's panicked. So I'm curious to see what happens and how he handles it. If he survives it, he's dying in that arc too. So I don't know.
Yeah, it could be an interesting thing where, maybe he like helps them lead the charge of like, hey, we stole your weapons. Let's shoot up the Empire now. And then the Empire isn't aware that Cyril is one of them and could get them. It could be a situation like that.
I didn't think that. Yeah, that could happen.
It could very well be a thing where like Cyril thinks like he has clearance and like they are aware that he's Imperial, so they won't get him. So he just goes all in, but maybe that's not true, and they take him down.
That's a great point. That happens in a lot of things. It's like I'm undercover. It's like boom. Well, we didn't know that because of like the compartmentalization of it all.
As far as it goes, from season 1, Vel is aware of Cyril, right?
Vel is aware of Cyril. In what way?
Just like of who he is and his connection to ISB.
I don't think so.
Ever?
How would she know again?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. It wouldn't be through the heist. It would. I mean, because it wasn't everybody on Aldani.
Cyril was not. Cyril had nothing to do with Aldani.
Nothing. He wasn't there. It was just Dedra.
It was just Dedra.
Okay,
he wasn't there. Not Aldani.
But they also don't meet in this arc, right? Even though they're working with the same group.
No, they don't meet in this arc. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Castian and Cyril kind of like switched from Coruscant to Gorman.
So quick. They just miss.
They just miss. And then Vel is there, but Cyril is just watching. I don't think he sees
he's on the distance.
It's too dark.
I got confused while I was watching because it was on the 3rd episode and I was late. I thought when Vel said something to the person that was on the stairs before she went into the meeting, I thought she was talking to Cyril. I thought that was Cyril. It wasn't.
No.
But because I was suggesting that maybe Vel could be the one to get Cyril. I don't know.
Could be. So yeah, I'm very intrigued by this storyline because I think he's gonna get super invested. But yeah, I can easily see it happening too, where he gets shot and he's like, "Oh, I didn't know."
Yeah. Do you think Dedra is going to be invested in Cyril if he's taken down?
Yeah, more than she expects herself to.
Yeah.
I think she's gonna be like, or she should be like, "Oh, it means nothing to me." But then we see that happen all the time. Where it's like, you realize the presence is gone, or the presence you don't expect to make affect you that much it's going to affect you when they're gone. The smell that you don't smell anymore, the noise you don't normally hear anymore.
Was Last of Us?
Yes. It's just that like that it's like a ghost. It's just like I feel cold and empty, and I think that's going to spiral into her panic attack. That feeling of loss is just when it comes to characters is just so unexpected. Which is why I love when evil characters like Dedra, evil antagonist, when they get lost. Yeah, she's evil. Yeah, she's evil.
It's her idea to the Gorman and
she's evil. Yeah. And I'm still on my Last of Us brain where I'm just like, evil depends on your perspective. Anyways, let's cut over to Mon Mothma, and she didn't get a lot in episode 4, but I love seeing her struggle to get like votes. Basically, I didn't know what she was getting votes for, but Star Wars Explained mentioned how it was basically about the whole prison sentence arc.
Yeah,
the PORD, whatever it's called. She's trying to like lessen that. In the pivotal conversation comes from a Gorman senator, and this is so insightful. Where the Gorman senator is like, I don't want to go against this bill even though the Gormans are the ones getting hit the hardest with this over-exaggerated prison bill. We already saw the effects on Andor. It's like, I thought I was supposed to get 5 years, and now it's like 15 or 20 based off whim. The Gormans, we already know, are getting hit hard by this bill because that was the plan. It's like, make the empire, or make it seem like being on the Gorman side is a risk. And the propaganda is paying off big time in this first episode, episode 4, where we see a lot of perspectives from being like, I can't really support that because aren't they the one who's doing the blockade, or isn't the Empire blockading them? It's like, it just, if they're on the bad side of the Empire, I can't side on it because I can't be on the bad side of the Empire. And Mon Mothma, she's Sisyphus. She's rolling the rock up the hill with no gain. And it's really painful to watch. There's also a great scene where she's talking to Perrin in the car late at night, and they're like, there's been so many parties recently because all these senators are throwing parties because they just became senators. And it's like, we've had more parties in the last 3 years than when you became senator, Mon. And it's just like, all these senators are just like, hey, I'm a senator now, party, 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 party. And it's just like, nobody's actually fighting for anything. The Senate became useless as soon as Order 66 happened.
It always looks so empty in there in the show, and I don't think that's a budget reason. That's just genuinely like nobody's doing anything because it's just like there's an all-encompassing empire that might as well be enough.
Yeah, they're not doing anything. The senators are just becoming senators, being fed. Like, season 1, you're so fat and satisfied. And that's exactly what they are. They're just satisfied by becoming senators, getting money, and not doing anything to help the people. And most of it is spurred on by fear.
I clocked this thing, and I don't know if I'm right, but it intrigued me. There's a scene where Mon's walking down a hallway with a couple aliens that she's trying to convince. Was that the Chancellor from The Force Awakens of Hosni and Prime?
Oh, I don't even know. I think similar species.
It definitely is, but like I feel like he was wearing like the exact same colors and stuff in there. And back from my TFA days of, for whatever reason, exploring the Topps trading card app, I feel like it might be the same one.
Yeah, Topps trading cards in Star Wars. I think there was something big that happened with that ordeal. I don't know.
But it would be interesting if that is like the future Chancellor of the New Republic. Could be
one of the survivors of the rebellion
until episode 7.
Yeah, exactly. JJ's like, goodbye.
But wait, what do we do?
Let's see. What else do we get here? Episode 4. Wilmon's on the car from The Force Awakens. Speaking of The Force Awakens, we see Wilmon go on the car to teach them how to steal Rhydonium. There's a number of sequences depending on the device and location. Number of different sequences to how to steal a Rhydonium capsule fuel tank thing. Rhydonium was mentioned in Rebels, and it was part of that episode 7, season 2 heist with Bill Burr's character and the whatever stuff like that. That's what Star Wars Explained said that. I forgot about that too. But I thought it was like a Bad Batch thing, but I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. There's always some kind of like big, flammable bad substance in Star Wars. I think coaxium.
That's what I was about to say. The only thing my brain ever goes to is coaxium, and that's a testament to Solo. And can we get more, please?
Coaxium, I know, right? We're getting Darth Maul series. That could be as close as we'll get.
I mean, I never get more of what I want. I want more Accolade, they won't give it. I want more Solo, they won't give it. But I get 3 seasons of The Mandalorian and a movie.
And Ahsoka season 2.
Which is funny because, again, like I like the Mando stuff, but then they won't explore Mando.
They won't make it deep and interesting.
They won't give character to the character. They were like, we finished in season 2. He's done. He's there for the cause. He redeemed himself in the water. That's fine. There's a mid-star down there. Is he going to come up? We don't have the budget.
Doesn't matter. So yeah, that's unfortunate. But yeah, the whole Wilmon stuff is very interesting as well too. Seeing Saul and his partisans and how they differ from Luthen and the people we know from them. They're pretty unhinged and very funny. They're making fun of they're making fun of Wilmon. It's just a lot of different like teasing and unhinged crazy people with Saul and his partisans. You see Lonnie Young back at the ISB. And he's doing great. I was very happy with this. I love always going back to the ISB stuff because it's very Big Brother coded with like the internal social power plays that are happening here. And Partagas is talking about how like why are we so ineffective? I'm like, failure on top of failure. And one of the guys is like, I can't do X, Y, and Z. And Partagas is like, why? Like somebody give me a reason. And Lonnie basically says like, Lonnie, I'm talking about guys, the spy, Luthen spy. And he's like, honestly, we're doing too much. There's a lot of arrests and it's leading to inefficiencies. And Partagas was happy for his honesty. He was like, you know what? Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a good point, Lonnie. I keep my eye on you. And the other guy was very happy for like, thank you for bailing me out there because he wasn't even talking to Lonnie. And then another guy, Dedra's old assistant, was also like, hey, thank you for speaking up there. So Lonnie's just getting a lot of social cred from speaking his mind, even though he's like the least Imperial guy in the room.
My timeline was also wondering if that scene between them was gay coded in the hallway.
Oh yeah.
Which I also clocked, but at the same time I'm like, doesn't Lonnie have a wife and child?
I think he has a wife and kid. Yeah, I think that's what he was telling Luthen in season 1.
We know he's safe. He's in Rogue One.
Which one?
Lonnie?
Lonnie's in Rogue One?
The mustache guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's I'm pretty sure I might be clocking the wrong mustache guy because it's the 70s aesthetic, but I'm pretty sure he's the dude who, like, doesn't he run across Yavin to tell Mon Mothma that the rebels are on Scarif? Am I wrong? But he is in Rogue One, isn't he?
I thought the guy from Rogue One, the only person I figured was from Rogue One was the guy from the Narkina 5 arc that escaped with Cassian.
He's a soldier guy, but there's definitely like somebody in the thing. I'll look at it. You talk. I'm gonna look at it.
Yeah, I didn't know Lonnie was from Rogue One. Yeah, you can tell me. But yeah, I like Lonnie talking about the problems with the Imperial, that they're doing too much. Partagas was very much impressed. And again, this is just great social payoff that happens in episode 3, where Partagas informs Lonnie about the scientist stuff that is happening. But yeah, Dedra's former assistant is now in charge of the Axis project. I thought it was very funny. He was like, I can't really tell you what I'm doing, Dedra. And Dedra's like, basically, I put you here. I gave you this position, basically, because I was in charge of the Axis project. It goes to shit in Ferrix. And now her assistant is the one leading the Ferrix project. And he isn't even telling her a lot of the information. She is still very much intrigued by the Axis of it all.
I am wrong. He's not in Rogue One.
Okay, yeah.
He could die. Yeah,
he could die. I think he might die because I'll say it now. He was the only one. Not him and Dedra's assistant are the only ones who are informed by Partagas about the growing Gorst scientist torture method school that they were thinking of building in the final episode. He says, you guys are the only ones in the building, I'm telling you this, but like they're expanding this. And one guy is like, yeah, I'm excited for this. And he's like, watch your enthusiasm.
It's an assignment. Relax.
Yeah, what are you doing? It was like regulate your enthusiasm. It was a very funny word. I forget.
It was like they're all just so on edge about the Empire, and the Empire's just like, fucking chill, man. I'm fucking tired.
Right? But then when it blows up at the end, it's like, can they trace it back to like, I only told 2 people about this. How do the rebels blow this up on Coruscant? Like, that's wild. That could come back a year later, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Lonnie, by the way, this is later in like the 3rd episode, but like, can you not just like understand that we're under the gun to get that microphone?
Yeah, it's like, dude, lock in.
She's like, step to the left, and she's like, what we're gonna do if I wasn't here? Like, who cares? We're here now.
Right? That was bugging me. But I love you, Lonnie.
If this was Lucian, he wouldn't have said shit.
Not at all. He would just dumb what he was told. Yeah. And that makes us to episode 5. We end with what's it called? Bix taking those drugs. But episode 5 was a great episode here. Cassian off on his mission with his new identity.
Varian
Because
Sky.
oh yeah, I'm gonna tell you, but yeah, Young meets with Luthen about the Gorman front and how like, and Luthen's like, why do they want what's up with Gorman? He's like, I have no idea what they want because the only people who have no idea what's up with Gorman is Dedra, Partagast, and the people in that room like Krennic. They just know that Gorman's important, but they don't know why. In that sense, Cassian's off to Gorman to see what's up with the Gorman front. And it's cool we get the Mission Impossible vibes where he goes into that one office and they're like, what are you here for? The good old spy talk. And then he gets in his ear and he has to like become a different person. A fashion designer. I forget the name. I didn't write it down, but like it was very funny.
Sky.
Varian Sky. Yeah. Varian Sky, the fashion designer. It was very cool. While Cassian's gone, though, Luthen visits Bix, and this was awkward.
I kind of commend the warmth from Luthen, but I think it is a front.
What do you, describe that for me, because like I was watching that and I'm like, he is genuinely worried about Bix because Cassian did mention it in that meeting they had.
Yeah, I don't know if this is like a thing where like Luthen does genuinely care sometimes, and then other times when like the stake of the rebellion is at stake, he's just like he locks in and he's more serious than ever. Because I mean, he has a laugh like in the last like episode, him and Lyra like have a laugh like we should have killed Krennic, which you fucking did, would have saved Cassian. But that said, I don't know because then like when Cassian's trying to like chew him out at the shop, he's like Cassian's just like he tells Cassian like you disappointed me, and then he says like you told like Bix told me, do you not think Bix would tell me like about the conversation you had? And he was like, I was hoping she wouldn't, but now you both disappoint me. Fucking
that was great.
This man is cold as fuck, and I'd love to watch it. Luthen would win Big Brother easily.
He's so good. He doesn't say he gets a lot of people to trust him, but he doesn't give a lot to other people. It's very smart.
But the words he does have with Bix do feel genuine, and I would believe that they would have some form of connection because even though we didn't see them speak together in season 1, we know that they are in communication through the comms. Mm-hmm. So there is some set history between them to some degree.
Yeah, exactly. Like he is genuinely worried for her. He does say like this drug is not really, not the best. But yeah, I think as soon as he sees that, he was going to offer her a job, but he saw that he's like, yeah, never mind. I'm just going to leave, but hopefully you do good for yourself, Bix.
Well, he tried to steal it away.
Yeah.
For a second until she asked for it back.
Yeah. He's like, oh, fuck.
But he did. Yeah. But then he warned her about the effects, hopefully as like a last drive of like, maybe she'll come to her senses in the situation.
Yeah, I think he's generally worried because he is a good operative too. So it's like I can't logistically I don't want to lose you. Like you're a great operative.
This isn't like a Cassian situation where he's like, all right, I used him, let's kill him. This is like no, I know Bix is a good asset, and I genuinely like, maybe it's not coming from a degree of like, I hope this person's okay, but like I hope that you can be what is good for the rebellion.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So yeah, the whole thing was just very cool. We go back to Cyril, and the spy stuff continues to be so impressive. There's an ISB raid, and he goes off. He was like, "How dare they?" And this is full. I think this is his full acting, right? Like he's acting super outraged over this.
Because he would have done this when he was in the ISB.
Exactly. Yeah, he would have done that shit. Yeah, like raiding people for no reason. But yeah, they find the bug and everything like that. And again, I think this is just more so. Did Dedra start this bug thing just so Luthen or just so Cyril can be more like non-complicit and be more?
I think so. I think it was on the crux of like, because they were clearly listening in, and it was like, okay, he's getting raided, and then later that night, he literally confronts the Gorman in the alley, and he's just like, yeah, I don't know, they're fucking doing what they want, trying to find whatever they need. They're in it for themselves. None of it makes sense, and he's clearly denouncing the ISB, even though he's fully about them to gain the favor of the Gorman.
And yeah, gaining the favor of the Gormans. And meanwhile, while this is happening earlier in the episode, the Gormans are doing their own history check on Cyril, looking up his background history per se.
So,
And they're like,
he would have motive turn because they fired him. But
they fired him.
That just drove him harder. They don't know that, though.
They don't know that. It's just like, I feel so bad for the Gormans once again, because like anybody else, they look at the history, they see this guy did a terrible job on Ferrix, got fired by the ISB, publicly
dishonorably discharged for the word.
Yeah, dishonorably discharged is just hilarious. Wow. Anybody else would be like, yeah, fuck the police, fuck the ISB, fuck the Empire. But like you said, Cyril is just making more motivated to get back in the Empire's good graces. And that causes him to just spiral. Spiral with the Empire. And it was just like, man, it's like the way they were so happy, the Gormans, like Ryland, he turns around, he's like, this is our guy. Like this is, we can trust him, guys. This is a good background check. It's
so unfortunate because like you understand why they believe that. You do, but also I also really like how when Cassian's leaving Gorman, he clocks like they're like way too hasty. Like they're not.
I was just about to say, I think that's the beauty of episode 5, this arc, where we see like through Cyril's journey in episode 5 and Cassian's own journey, the way they interact with the Gormans. These Gormans are hasty, which is unfortunate, but listening in on everything that's happening in this episode, we can understand why through their history and through the present danger, clear and present danger. It's very unfortunate but understandable to see everything that's happening here. Let's see what happens. Cyril goes to Coruscant. It can only stay for an hour, and they get busy. That was great. We didn't see it.
Thank God.
Would their sex scene be so awkward? It would just be her on top the whole time, right?
No, I think she's planking it.
Really?
I think she's just like, all right.
Just taking it?
Probably.
Probably. I can see that happening too.
Very sterile.
I think those are two options there where it's like, she's just like, okay, like what time is it? Okay, cool.
Or they're freaks.
Or they're like super
There is no middle.
Yeah. That'd be hilarious. Like,
what's AO3 have? Let me
they're like 4 players and bullshit.
Do you think it's a petty thing of just like off, let him have this?
When he said you had me followed, like there was a smile on his face. Like this guy is so free. He likes being followed. He likes this whole like weird relationship that they have. I'm like, I still can't believe we're getting this. Like this is wild to me. Like season 1, everybody's like, I sense something here. Like what's happening here? And the fact that Tony Gilroy is doing it for us, like, come on.
Absolutely. I am bummed we don't get more of their like sitcom-y lifestyle.
Yeah, I would love it. Just give me 10,000 episodes of that.
That is wild that like they cut back to like, they're visiting at that same house, but like all the furniture's gone. It's empty. Clearly Deidre isn't living there. But this is where they can safely reconvene, I guess.
Yep. And it's like, they can only stay for an hour because they made the whole every conversation that was kind of forced between Cyril and his mom made it seem like he's doing Coruscant only for his mother. So he can only stay somewhere else because the rebels might check to see if he made it to his mom's house just to be sure, has to keep up appearances. But while he's there, Andor is on the Gormans, playing his, what is it again, Valyrio Sky?
Valerian Sky?
Valerian Sky.
Valerian, the city of 1,000 planets.
Yeah, I think it's Varian. Is it Valerian? Is it Varian? I think either way, Sky. Varian. I don't remember Sky.
It is Varian. It's not Valerian.
Yeah, it's Varian.
No.
Varian.
However, Valerian is a French comic.
That sounds familiar.
Like I joked, Valerian, the city of 1,000 planets.
Oh, that's the French comic. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the movie not great, but like the actual original comic, it's based on.
Did you ever go see that movie?
My dad got me the Blu-ray for my birthday. Was it for my birthday? I don't know. Like it's funny.
Okay.
It's funny. Like occasionally, he's like, "Oh, let me pick up a cool movie for my son." I remember one birthday he got me a few. Like it was like, okay, cool. I got War from Planet of the Apes,
Great.
and the Dark Tower. I was like, I get it. Idris is on the cover. Matthew McConaughey is on the cover.
Yeah.
I would be intrigued to revisit it. I know the Dark Tower is better in the books, but
Yeah, I never saw it. The trailer just like looked so bad. Yeah.
they were
But
better in
anyways,
2017.
I liked Andor's conversation here with the bellhop about the massacre. It was like a genuine conversation. The show was so good at delivering these like genuinely heartfelt, like spy-esque conversations. Like I'm just an ordinary fashion designer. I'm just asking about what's happening.
I'm just a designer.
Just designer.
I have no stake. I love Cass. I love Diego Luna's voice so much.
He's so good. He's so good. I need him on my screen every year and whatever.
What do you think? What do you think was his process of getting that hair to stay that like full and combed?
Yeah, that must be a great long process.
Hella hairspray.
But yeah, they talk about the massacre and just the way the show was talking about it was so heartfelt and so chilling at the same time. Talking about his father sacrificed himself by pushing him out of the way from a stray blast. I'm just visualizing it as he's talking about it. And Cassian, even though he's playing this character, was genuinely moved by it as well. It was just a great conversation, great part of the episode. If you can't tell, I really liked episode 5. This was a great episode.
Oh yeah.
And then we see Carl Rylance, head of the Gorman Front. Enza was his daughter. And we see Enza chastising Cassian when they finally meet later that night. She's basically like, are you the guy? Cassian's like, I'm designer. He's like, if I was your guy, I could just, you better hope I'm your guy, basically, because I could just shoot you right now and the whole thing's done.
Yeah.
But basically, I am.
And stop having your people following me. It's too obvious.
It's too obvious. He's so skilled at this, and she's just like, well, shit. But also, again, I get it. What else can they do? The Imperials have their boot on their neck for the Gormans.
That's true.
Like physically, propaganda-wise, like everything is just like so bad for the Gormans. So he's chastising her for being too trusting. But yeah, he also meets the father the next day, in the morning at the shop.
Yeah,
he says similar vibe there.
Yeah, and I especially love how he hesitates at the knowledge of like what you have a person on the inside, what in the Empire.
Yes. Because he's like, where are you getting all this information from? Because the father is the one that tells Cassian about the Imperial transport and how they're planning on raiding this Imperial transport just to confirm that the manifest is indeed about an armory that we know is already being built. Cassian's like, you guys already know what's an armory. He's like, but we need the Gormans we need to be known. We need to be out there. That's basically what the Gormans are saying. Like we kind of know what it is. There's so many rumors I saw in the public town hall. They're like, they're building an armory, and the guy's like, well, we don't know for sure. So the whole high is just to confirm what they kind of already know, which is what irks Cassian even more. But yeah, you're right. Like he also says, like, where you get the information from, and he's like, well, this undercover or this Imperial informant, and Cassian's like, that's their job. They're really good at doing like, giving out information willy-nilly.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Willy-nilly. Haven't heard that one in a minute.
Thank you. I love Willy and I love Nillies. So
you love Willies?
I don't know.
Just screen cap me doing this and put a little pride flag in there. Which again is most of my timeline with this show, Evan.
Yeah, so Cassian is not fond of their recklessness, but he does agree to help out with the hijacking. But throughout all this, again, I just love the way they're going back and forth between like fashion designer talk and regular spy talk. Cassian there's a scene at the end of the conversation where Cassian just is like, oh, and you can deliver it back to my house without even turning around because a couple does like enter the shop.
Maybe.
And he just like changes his cadence immediately without even blinking. It was a great scene.
He's being Luthen, and
Yeah,
it's very fun to watch.
exactly. He's a great spy. Um, yeah, on Coruscant, Partagaz congrats Cyril. He's like, good job, Cyril, with all this information. Or basically, the conversation ends up being, we're going to continue this. Cyril, you go back in there, continue your role in this, make them make mistakes, make them continue. And it was very funny. Cyril and Partagaz and Dedra want them to continue the operation against this Imperial on convoy, basically, while Cassian is saying don't do the heist. It's very weird because like the Imperials should be saying, hey, don't rob us, and Cassian should be saying, hey, let's rob the Imperials. But it's the opposite. Cassian, the rebel, wants them to stop rebelling, or at least this specific act of rebellion, while Partagaz, the Imperials, want them to continue rebelling. Why? Because it gives them an excuse to increase their presence. It was all just so an interesting, twisted nature of their roles in this conflict here. Very interesting, very interesting. I just love the way in episode 5, Cyril and Cassian, even though they never meet, their plans intertwine, and it was very compelling to watch. And Cyril's like, "This is the best day of my life."
He did, and I'm like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, that's bad. You didn't even mention the sex. It was just like the congratulations.
They're just like, I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, right. So yeah, they're going to continue the operation. Andor disputes the ordeal. Riley answers later that night. Andor's like, we can't go through with this because you see Andor at night checking out the surveillance and going to the sewers. Great rain, by the way. And the way this whole, again, the set design, the way this underground sewer area tunnel is just so complex and intriguing and beautiful and rainy, and it's just the set design is just so perfect in this show. I love it so much.
Truly.
But yeah, Riley's like, we can't just do nothing because Cassian sees their plan. He's like, this is stupid. This isn't going well. And Riley is just like, we have to do something. The Imperials are here. You just expect us to do nothing. But Cassian's like, if you continue on with this, it's going to be bad for you guys. So it's very interesting. He's caring about them.
Yeah.
And this kind of is Cassian's deal, this whole arc, where he cares so much about the people. He cares so much about Biggs. He cared so much about the bellhop asking about the massacre. He cares so much about the Gormans and what they're going through. He's worried that the Empire is going to revolt. And in connection to Biggs, he's scared the Empire is going to take her away from him. So Cassian, as he continues to be a great spy, continues to be burdened by his relationships that he's cultivating in this show. Being a spy, giving his everything, it's very hard. I just love it a lot. Very good stuff here. Complex dilemma. Pluty is the apprentice that we see is working with Saul Gerrera. And this is some good shit here. What do you think about, long story short, for this whole side of the storyline here, Pluty is getting taught by Wilmon, but there's different sequences depending on the location. So Pluty goes to talk to Saul, and he's like, "Hey, I need to know, as an apprentice to Wilmon, he knows more than me, but I'm getting the hang of things here. I would really like to know the location though, so I know what specific sequence to train on." This sets Saul's ears up, like, wait, what's going on here? Next scene, we know he shoots Pluty, and he says, this guy is a traitor. I caught him. Nathan.
They think we're going here, but we're on the many parsecs away.
Many parsecs away.
I love Forrest so much.
He's so good. He's so crazed. But do you think Pluty was actually a traitor, or was this two tubes and Saul just, their paranoia? A paranoia that we see is strengthening more and more in the rebellion. The first arc of this show, we saw all that paranoia on Yavin 4. So it's like, it is just a case of rebels being paranoid, or at least specifically the partisans being paranoid here. Or was he an actual traitor? He's just one of the things that you'll never really know.
Yeah, I don't know. When Tubes was checking his vest for evidence, did he
He
plant
pulled
that
out something, but it was just like they didn't tell us what it was. It was just like
I
we
guess
found
it's
something.
I guess it's a transmitter.
It was a tracker. It was a transmitter, and it's just like
maybe. I mean, I guess it could be true. I mean, I don't know how Saw trust anybody in the group. I don't think he does,
right?
but like the fact that he is like, I guess they've all proven themselves in some dark way, each one of them. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Saw is such a wild card. This is the same guy who went to torture Bodhi, who's the most innocent person in the galaxy.
Right. So yeah, that was just fantastic. And speaking of fantastic, we get so they shoot him. And they're like now, and I kind of saw this coming too. I was like, I noticed Jalen. I was like, the other guys are gone. Or like I had an idea that they wanted to just use Willman for the job anyways because he just knows more. Like why should we hang out with this guy and train him over Wilmot, especially when Saul was like threatening to kill Wilmot when he was having the conversation with Two Tubes and Pluty, like, oh, after he teaches you stuff, we're gonna kill him. I was like, they're not gonna kill Wilmot like this. There's no way. But I was like, they could kill the other guy because Wilmot already knows more anyway. So what would be the point in killing Wilmot? And that's what happened. He just kills the other guy. And they bring Wilmot over to the raid where the goal is to unload this unstable Rhydonium, and I guess they were going to gas the Empire or just make it explode. I think I can't tell.
At the end of the Saw sequence,
yeah,
I thought they were stealing some sort of fuel to power.
Yeah, it was the Rhydonium. Oh, they were just stealing the fuel.
That's what I imagine. I figured it was like the device was to unlock access to the fuel so that they could take it for themselves.
Got it.
We will be many parsecs away.
So they go there, and this is one of the most riveting monologues in the entire series. It was so good.
You think I've been saying war isn't for the sane?
Revolution is not for the sane, and it was just so compelling. And
breathe it in, boy.
Breathe it in, boy. Let it run wild.
Yeah.
Let it run wild.
Someone had a screenshot of Saw and Cal in the game, like just on, like bent down on their knees, and someone casually breathe it in, Cal.
It was so good. It gets to the heart of what makes them, or at least Saul, so different from Mon and Luthen. This guy is an anarchist. He loves the Rhydonium is symbolic of Saul's explosive nature. He's like, this Rhydonium is set to explode, and it's going to explode or run wild. And this is kind of like what we need to do, like the sacrifices. We're fighting for a republic that we might not live to see. And again, this is Saul saying this. He knows. And of course, we know that end up coming to pass anyways. But like, he is so invigorated by this rebellion, by this revolution, and not so much of like the whole secrecy aspect. He's just like, he's full on like, this is it. This is what we're doing. Like, he's much more straightforward than what we've seen Mon and Luthen doing. Like, we're just getting to the heart of what makes Saul so compelling and so different from all the other rebel leaders. This season is doing a great job explaining the different factions of the rebellion and how they're all maneuvering in different ways.
Yeah, man. You definitely get the more personal side with Saw here. Like, I forget the exact course of language he used in the monologue, but at some point he's like referring to what the war machine of the Empire is, and then he addresses it being his sister.
Yeah, the Rhydonium is my sister.
Yeah, and
we understand each other.
Yeah, and then I think that cuts deep with like the idea of like in the Clone Wars arc when he lost his sister, and like I think that is like his real turn on all of this within the functioning of the galaxy and his true entering on this journey of not being sane, letting it consume him, but fighting at whatever cost. Like, he genuinely believes in freedom and ridding the oppression of the Empire, but like Luthen, this isn't like your heroic viewpoint that Leia probably has already. It was, if we stand together as one, we could face them, we could beat them. They're the nitty gritty, do what it takes.
Yeah, and was that's a great point in bringing up his sister angle, and I think it kind of elevates the core tenets of the arc, which is all about relationships, and relationships versus or how you handle relationships in the heart of the rebellion. And like you mentioned, Saul lost his sister. This is a guy who his sister was kind of like his moral compass. With his sister out of the play, it kind of caused Saul to spiral and give birth to somebody who's able to deliver this heartfelt, crazed, unhinged monologue about the skin and how his skin was like sizzling because of the hot sun under the unjust conditions on Andor, and how him and his other people were just like miserable. But it was Rhydonium. It was his sister that kind of gave birth to something that understood him. It was just all so compelling and kind of like, hey, this is a character that kind of lost his moral compass, lost his core relationship, and this is what he turned into. And I wonder, if how is Vel going to change after losing Cinta? So it's all very informative. But also, this whole sequence is kind of an initiation sequence. Wilmon was working with Cass and Bix under Luthen, but this whole thing really gets him energized. Revolution is not for the sane. Breathe it in. He takes off his mask and literally breathes it in and kind of screams. It's kind of like a crazy, what's it called? Initiation for indoctrination for Wilmon, who kind of understands. He lost his relationship with his father. He lost his father, and he's been kind of like, trying to find his path in season 2 as well.
It hurts though, because, he was making it very clear, like he's only like teaching the algorithm to the guy because he, as soon as he can, that's when he can leave, even though he was supposed to leave. Before that, he has somebody, I imagine it's probably the farm girl or something, that he's trying to make his way back to. But now if he's just going full in with Saw, it's like, I understand wanting to fight for something, but to also sacrifice what you cared about as well. Again, that is like that situation of like, becoming like Luthen and Saw and less human in a way.
Yeah. I think he was trying to get back to Luthen more so. Because like, there's a Cassian. But yeah, you're right. It's just like he gets indoctrined by Saul's pleading that he can extremely relate to, that feeling of loss, the feeling of fighting back at whatever cost. Just look back at the way he was looking at Marva in the season 1 finale, the way he was so angry. Like this really gives birth to like Wilmon's inner wants and desires against the Empire, that violence. It was just so good. It was just let it run wild. Revolution's not for the same. It's like breathe it in. It was just, I just love monologues like that. It was just so good.
Very good.
And that kind of ends episode 5 there. And then we cut to episode 6, and we get a beautiful reunion between Andor and Bix when they reunite. Sorry. I missed the whole Andor and Luthen conversation where Andor says no to the Gormans. And Luthen's very disappointed, basically. He's
not
like, really?
Not in the essence of helping the Gormans, but of just giving up on the idea of Gorman as a whole for what it could do to the rebellion, no matter the outcome.
No matter the outcome. And we kind of know this is Luthen's playbook, right? Where it's like if more things hit, that's unfortunate. But it's the hit we might have to take to get the public on our side.
They can be a very rich and useful ally. And at Cassian asked, well, what if it all goes up in flames? What if the planet goes under? And
all the better.
It'll burn very brightly. The galaxy will see that.
Oh yeah.
And it will rally to their cause, the rebellion, which like, yes, we do need that, but oh my God, at what cost?
That was a great line. Like, it'll burn very brightly. I was like, oh shit. Because we know it's coming. But what's Luthen's response going to be? Like, is he going to be like, I wanted a retaliation, but not like this? A massacre is different from just, what happened at Ferrix. Luthen probably thinking, I want what happened at Ferrix to happen at Gorman, where they fight back, people on Ferrix died, but it wasn't a massacre. It was just like
Mhm.
it was a disaster for the Empire. The Gorman massacre isn't a disaster for the Empire at all. So it's like, how is this going to pull Luthen? Like, how is this going to? It's going to be a big display on Luthen's like leadership, I think, and the flaws in his leadership. Because Cassian's right; they're both right and wrong, right? Because the Cassian's like, we can't help the Gormans. Like, they're too far gone. They're hasty. They're reckless. This plan is already stupid because they're just confirming what we already know. It's like the Empire's going to be on their throats, and Luthen, like you said, is just like, well, I want them to be on their throats. It will burn very brightly. I want a big reaction because they're wealthy. People will take notice. Like Mon Mothma. But like, does it have to happen like this though? Like, it's hard to just plan something like that. It's very complicated. I get what Luthen is saying. I get what Cassian is saying. But because Cassian says no, in the next scene we do see Vel making her way on Gorman already. So that's what's going to be happening with that. But yeah, episode 6 starts with Andor and Bix reuniting, and oh my gosh, what a heartfelt like hand thing they do here. It is confirmed like that this is like a childhood, love kind of like bond thing they had there growing up. And it was just so touching, and I love it.
It's beautiful. I love it. This is clearly what Ray and Ben were doing on Octo in the 10.
Yes. 1,000%. 1,000%. If they did that on the 10, I'd be like, oh my God, that was.
But it is funny, like just that little like touch, and we're like, oh, but like imagine if they were doing like all that.
Yeah, we lost our minds at this. Like, yeah,
people fainting in the aisles of the theater.
Dude, what if I always think back to like how great and riveting the show is. Imagine a post-9 show with like this style with Ben, Finn, Poe, and Ray. Like, God.
Fuck, man, I think we need it post 6 for the New Republic. If I'm being real,
that'd be very cool too. Very cool too. Like the early days there.
Instead of just like we have one squadron of X-wing pilots that are regulating a police force,
right?
And Carson Teva is in every single
one of them. He's like, weren't you just on? He's on Coruscant and he's on another planet. Like, how does this guy get places?
Yeah, it's okay, but we have a Zeb now.
Oh, God,
genuinely shocked he was not in Skeleton Crew.
But yeah. Andor and Bix reunite is so touching. Vel goes to Gorman. Andor is frustrated over Luthen. Like, they have a great scene. They're reunited, but he quickly gets frustrated when he tells him, "Oh yeah, Luthen was here." He's like, like my boss was here. What the fuck? He didn't even tell me.
I left.
I just saw him 2 hours ago. He didn't mention you at all. But he was in our house. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, basically, like Luthen's preying on Bix. That's what he's thinking.
Yes, he's preying on Bix, and like we mentioned earlier, he's extremely worried for Bix. He doesn't think she's like. Part of me thinks like Cassian thinks that. Part of me thinks that Cassian thinks that she is not ready, for like moving out. Cassian says like you need to be more active, to get that nightmare out of your head, but he just kind of wants her to rest some more. Is he really looking out for her best, well-being? He is, but it's like, it's complex. So Cassian confronts Luthen at his shop, which was wild to me. I was like, oh my God, Cassian, like, what are you doing here? There's so many cameras. Like, I see a lot of things in episode 6 like spiraling. Like, if anybody took a picture, if anybody is just still watching over Luthen's shop, they can just be like, Andor?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the whole bomb at the end of the episode, I'm like, I think like things are just gonna spiral back on Luthen sooner than later. And Clea too.
Yeah.
So yeah. Cassian confronts Luthen. It's all about how like this distrust, and it was so funny is that he's like you said, you mentioned earlier how Cassian says you didn't think that she would tell me. He's like, part of me hopes she didn't, but now she did, and you both have disappointed me recently. And what I love here is that like Cassian's like, I gave everything to you, and Luthen reiterates the line that Cassian said at the end of season 1. It's like I am yours now. Basically, I'm with you guys. I'm with you till it all. he's like, "Is this you
This is
giving
everything.
me everything? Is this everything?" Like,
Yeah.
no to the Gormans, no to Biggs. What are you doing to Biggs? Just like, why are you like basically Luthen's asking, like, why are you putting up all these walls if you're really giving me everything? You're saying no, you're declining a lot of things. You're not giving me a lot of options here, Cass. And it's basically, especially because Luthen looks at Cassian and other players as operatives. And if you're going to be declining me, even though you do well in these missions, if you decline me enough times, you're not a good operative to me.
Yeah.
It was a great scene. I rewatched it recently. I loved how Cassian kind of gets to the heart of his arc in this, or Cassian's arc within this arc, about how he's dealing with Biggs. He does frustratingly admit to Luthen, like, it would be best if I was just alone. And I think Luthen looks at him like with some kind of like a little bit of sympathy, like he understands, because Luthen is also semi-alone, but Luthen also isn't. He does have Clea, who we can trust 100%. So it's very kind of a not hyperbolic, but what's it called? Ironic, where he's telling everybody else to be like kind of alone and separate, even though he gets to have Clea, who is his number one.
But I guess they are both also like very locked in. However, he does kind of try turning the blame on her about the idea of bugging the thing. Is like, we're doing too much. We shouldn't have ever done this. But he gave the okay in the first place. And she calls him out.
Yeah, I love seeing more Clea, and Clea was great in these episodes. We haven't talked about it enough, but yeah, she's doing a lot. She discovered how Davos Skolden, who is the father of the person that they married Lita to, the boy, and Skolden was saying how one of the pieces of Luthen's collection that they gave to Skolden was a fake. And this is bad because they put a bug on this fake, or not the fake, but they just put a bug on one of the things in the room over there. So they need to remove the bug, and Luthen's pissed, like you said. So it's a lot. It's funny how like Luthen says we put too many bugs, and similar to the Empire, they're like we did too many like arrests or whatever. Like there's just a high volume of like instability between the rebellion and the Empire. So yeah, I like Clea mentioning this, and Clea's like, I do everything for you, dude, and like you're spiraling at me. I'm the wrong person to be yelling at right now. So it was very funny. She is just so great. I can't wait to see more of her in future episodes. So yeah, it just everyone's a flaw in Luthen's paranoid head. Let's see here. The Gore's torture methods is evolving into a type of school/field office. This was reported straight to Yoon and Dedra's assistant. Yoon, who's been like rising in the ranks here, he's kind of relegates this to the Dedra's assistant after he says like he's so enthusiastic. So he's like, that's your job, this whole scientist torture bullshit thing. I'm gonna go tell Luthen about it. Which is very funny. We don't see it happen, but like we do know that Luthen gives Biggs a job, which is the scientist thing. So yeah.
Good stuff.
What else here? Oh, so Nathan, towards the end of the episode at night, we get the big art show. Mon Mothma arrives, angry that her and Perrin have been at so many of these parties. But they run into Bail Organa, played by Benjamin Bratt. What are your thoughts on this recasting?
So I was made aware of it. I think maybe like a day or two after Celebration, word was going around from people who had watched the entire season. In general, it was rumored like Jimmy Smits was recast, and I was like, but why? He was just an Obi-Wan. There was no. He's appeared in many of these. Why would he? Why? And I guess there is some sort of scheduling issue in regards. But Bale has a functionality in the story. I believe he's in the next coming arc, and he has a scene in the Senate itself.
Yeah. We saw a snippet of that. We saw an image at least. The only thing I know that he is in is Dexter Resurrection, playing one of the old characters he played in the first couple seasons of Dexter. That show is getting a lot of cast. Peter Dinklage was assigned to that show as well recently.
That's cool.
That show is not for me anymore. But I think that might be why the whole Dexter of it all.
Okay. I recognize him as the Pangborn, the guy who directs Stephen Strange to Kamar-Taj in the first Doctor Strange movie. He's the dude who was able to walk again when he shouldn't have, when he was paralyzed. He's also in the post-credit scene of Mordo that we never got to follow up on for that Mordo. But that is the same actor.
Too many sorcerers, right? That's the thing.
Yeah. Not his fault. He's also in that Catwoman movie. That's the only things I know him from. I think he might have also been on Law and Order. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I thought Jimmy Smith was the Law and Order one. Was it Benjamin?
Could be both. I looked up in the Google image to see like have they ever been in anything together, and I saw them like speaking at a some sort of event. I think for their similar Puerto Rican heritage, and I was like, okay, cool. They
cool. I didn't know that.
Familiar and told each other. Cool. I feel like this is a very trusting passing torch for the moment until we can get Jimmy back, because Jimmy is such a integral piece not only in regards to the prequels, but now he's shared on screen time with Leia in the Obi-Wan series, which I love.
Yeah, he was great in the Obi-Wan series. But yeah, I think I'm with you. You know, Jimmy Smits is doing Dexter. Benjamin Bratt's fully available. This character is so important to the show. You can't just write him off. So it was a great scene. What?
So you say Jimmy is the one that's on Dexter?
Yeah. Sorry if I was confusing. Yeah, Jimmy has scheduling issues because of Dexter. Yes, it is. Sorry. Benjamin Bratt is not doing anything right now, so he was available for Andor.
Sure.
So
good actor. I like him.
He's great though. Yeah. I think I saw him in something recently, but yeah, he's always great. Like you mentioned, I saw him in everything that you mentioned as well. And yeah, if this character is so important, it's better to just recast it and just write him off. This is the birth of the rebellion, especially next week as we get into the Mon Mothma escape of it all. It's like Bail is such an important, pivotal character to the whole political side of things. So we need him.
Totally. And they wouldn't, because otherwise they wouldn't have just up and recast Jimmy Smith. Didn't Jimmy even do like voice work for Bail in like Rebels?
Sure.
Or Clone Wars, one of them. I feel like
I'll take your word for it. I have no idea.
But yeah, he's very committed to the role. And he was in Rogue One. It's like there's a very clear distinction here. I'll be intrigued to see how that rolls. I wonder if it's does Bail doesn't go against the Senate like Mon, right?
No, but the show might add that. I mean, we don't know. We saw one speech.
I know. I mean, he's still like openly like traveling to Alderaan and stuff in Rogue One. That's why he's gone. But yeah, as is. I'm not mad at the casting choice because I do like the actor. He had like maybe 3 lines of dialogue for like 30 seconds so far, so I can't really gauge his performance. But
some people are upset, but like they're doing all this for 10 seconds. But like, no, he has a bigger role in an upcoming arc for sure.
That would be like a justified worry. It'd be like, yeah, just what the hell? It could have gone to any senator, but the fact that he will have more and it'll be of a significant history of Bail's canon, I accept.
Exactly. So let's discuss the party scene first, then the heist of it all. Sure. The party was amazing. Again, wonderful set for Scorden's art show. The whole outside exterior was designed very cool, but then the inside was also like gorgeous.
Very bar, very club,
very club like esque. Clea just talking to Yoon was hilarious. We see a lot of Mon Mothma talking to Luthen, like, "Why are you here?" It's like, I have something that I need. That's why I'm here. It was very funny. And Luthen just like playing up his whole persona of that he gave a lot of these art pieces to Scorden, so he's just keeping that ruse. Meanwhile, they're all talking so Clea can get to Yoon, Lonnie Yoon here, and talk to him about like, hey, I'm gonna need you here, basically like threatening him because she could, destroy him. He owes her a lot. So this whole conversation was just so funny, and so it was great seeing Clea be the spy outside of the outside of her shop. In the whole scene in the art room, as she's like, "Oh, I have a personal, connection to this art piece," and she's trying to untangle it, and he gets stuck, and her blood is trickling down. I'm just like, this is so intense.
I was scared there was gonna be a setup where she accidentally leaves a drop of blood and someone was gonna be able to trace back.
I for sure thought that was gonna happen. For sure, yeah. Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man. I love that he hears the blood drop hit the floor and he just turns around like goes to check the balcony. It's so funny. But yeah, I love this. I love the history of the art piece itself, coming from a culture who considered blindness to be a privilege. And they had like sensitive skin. They read through touch. Somebody had a theory that it's possible Clea maybe was born of that culture, but she was cursed with the burden of sight.
Wow.
And I was like, what a cool history if that's true.
Yeah. I need like a comic or a book all about Clea. She's such a interesting character. I love her dynamic with Luthen. I love her devotion to the Republic or to the rebellion. She is so devoted, willing to sacrifice it all. Like, hey, scoot over to the left, and she's just like twisting while keeping up this facade at the same time. And while this is happening in this like this circular room, you have Mothma going bar for bar to the one and only Krennic, who appears out of nowhere.
Thank God Mon isn't aware of this heist, by the way. She is just
not at all. She just hates
Krennic.
And Krennic knows that, and they hate each other. It was so good.
Back and forth is so good. It's so funny.
You're saying your rebel is my terrorist? And Mon Mothma's like, yeah, pretty much.
Gets to the RP. I understand this is very important to you. Why?
Why? It's just... I can't overstate how much of a gift it is to get Genevieve O'Reilly and Ben Mendelsohn in this show. They are chewing the scenery up. It was just such a great scene.
They're so good. It is crazy they didn't share a scene in Rogue One. Because they're so good here. Genevieve really is the gift that keeps on giving with Mon Mothma.
She's so good. She was going far. She was just going off on his ass.
She's phenomenal in Andor. She's she does great in Rogue One, and she's so good. Like, we went past the actual original actress's casting, and she's in Ahsoka. Like, she's still around. And it really does. I was thinking about this when I went to go see Revenge of the Sith in theaters. I ended up going again, by the way. I had a much better time the second time. But I was
on Wednesday, right?
Yeah, and I was thinking, I was like, how the fuck did we cut every scene with Mon with Genevieve for Revenge of the
all
Sith?
those deleted scenes, yeah.
And then get so lucky enough that 11 years later she was brought back and has been consistently around. She does she's the voice in Rebels too. She's committed.
She's so good. And no doubt that they're gonna like elevate that scene from Rebels, because that's been making the waves, and it's a great speech in Rebels, but like it's animation, so it's kind of stiff. But
do you think she has the haircut look in the Senate when she delivers that?
No way, no. We'll change that for sure.
Defiance.
So yeah, it was a wonderful scene. And yeah, they just get there, they got it in time. They're walking away. It's like, oh man, we should have killed Krennic. Oh, it's so good.
And I'm feeling sad after everything. I'm like, you should have. Go back.
So jolly and happy. Cutting to the tragedy of this heist.
Yeah, man.
It was just great seeing Cinta and Vel together again. They have a great reunion when they're together, where they make out.
I was genuinely worried about the idea of maybe Cinta doesn't want to commit to she's more into the cause than the actual sense of relationship between her and Vel. But to my surprise, and positively, no, they genuinely have equal caring for one another, and Cinta is sorry that she hadn't done more to be with Vel, and I feel it all. No, you're good. I feel it all, and that's what made me so optimistically hopeful to build more with them. It's like, hey, we only have the rest of the season, but I think we'll make the most out of it.
I wanted her around for so much more. I don't know if it's just like my heartbreak or just like a criticism. I just wanted more from Cinta this season. I don't know. It's just like I get it. It's like the unpredictability of rebellion or whatever. It's just what?
Yeah. Did she kill Tay? Probably.
Yeah, she probably killed Tay. Star Wars explained was like maybe that's the accident that went wrong. Maybe something went wrong in their ship, and then that's what happened. And that's what she was talking about to Vel when she says like there was an accident recently and it made me rethink my life. Maybe it was the Tay thing. Maybe something went wrong. But either way, yeah, so an accident happened. She's rethinking her life. I just would have loved to slowly see them getting together again. I love seeing it, but whenever we get like a rushed kind of romance, I'm like, it just had my alarm bells singing, especially leading into a heist on this front that was built up already. I'm just like, but I love seeing the vulnerability there, and Cinta gets to the heart of what Luthen, the flaws of Luthen's leadership, where she says when they're making out, and she says, "I want to be with you some more." Luthen thinks of us as operatives, not as like individual people. Because I think she asked, like, did Luthen send you here? She's like, no, I sent myself here. I wanted to be with you. I wanted to do this knowing that you were going to be here. So it just goes into the flaws of like Luthen's thing. There's this whole, and it kind of spirals into like, the people in Gorman front not trusting the rebels in Vel and Cinta, bringing the gun, causing the death of Cinta, just all this distrust and paranoia and rudderless leadership, which we need. So I just like seeing the progression of the rebellion, how messy and unorganized the rebellion is at this stage in all different facets. But yeah, the Vel and Cinta reunion scene was just so beautiful. I love that they got to make out and kiss. It was great.
Yeah.
And yeah, this whole tragedy heist thing was just crazy. One of the sad thing was Enza, or one of them leaves their post because an old lady appears and they have to leave that. So that wasn't part of the plan. And then the other guy that was arguing in the town hall meeting comes out and wants to like pick a fight with the Empire, or wants to see what's going on or something. And Sam, the guy with the gun, who wasn't supposed to have a gun, gets into a useless argument with him. I'm just like, what are we doing? Why are we measuring dick contests right now?
Definitely, this was a detriment on Sam's part for including the blaster at all, but also the guy that walks up, go away.
Yeah, like, what are you doing?
And then he's the one to carry Cinta's body away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't act like you're helping. You caused this just as much, motherfucker.
I think it was 90-10. 90-10, it was Sam's fault.
90 the bullet.
Yeah, the guy comes outside. It was just like, from my perspective, it was just like he sees the convoy. He's like, oh, I hate those motherfuckers. But he wasn't supposed to go towards the convoy. Sam's like, hey, you're going the wrong way. You shouldn't be going over there. And he pulls a gun on him. Like, yo, what the fuck? Like, you can pull a gun on a random person. Granted, I would be like, okay,
stop him.
I would be like, okay, sure, don't do that. But the other guy, but Sam wasn't taking it, and then it was awful. But yeah, so they just didn't trust the rebellion people. It was just a lot of distrust. But as soon as it happened, it was just like, oh, God damn. It was just a whole series of unfortunate events. But building up to a heartbreaking speech from Vel. Don't fucking cry. Why are you fucking crying? Dude, I was on the verge of tears with this speech, but I was also so compelled because I hate when people when bitches like him cry. And I'm just like, don't you dare cry, the little bitch. Like I wanted Vel to, I wanted her to shoot him so badly. Like, what do we lose by shooting him? Just shoot him. Right? Like, if that guy shot Biggs, Cassian's shooting him.
Yes.
Cassian's shooting him.
Just shoot. True.
Like, Vel, shoot him. Shoot him.
Well, Evan.
He might die next episode anyway after the massacre.
I'm sure he will. Okay, I understand you're upset.
What?
Look, I mean, we know the shot was not intentional.
So it happened.
It did happen.
It didn't happen. I saw it happen.
Well, you didn't. It was off camera. That was the surprise. Don't tell me it was on camera. That said, I understand why he's upset. As her
don't cry. You fucked up.
But if you accidentally killed somebody, you wouldn't be like, oh no. That internal guilt would hit you like fucking a ferret's brick. Well, yeah, and it should. And it should. I'm just saying, like, I understand why he's crying. it's hard. I mean, yeah, it should probably be on his own time, but like, fuck it, like he just murdered somebody. He murdered an innocent woman. He's aware,
Mm-hmm.
but I get it.
I just hated it happening. Man, I was pissed. I was so pissed. I was so pissed.
A lot of people I watched where it was just like, what? How? No, not like this.
Yeah. Mostly it was just because I was like, not like this. I want Cinta going down in the gun battle or whatever. Like even with the Brazo one, I was like, at least he was like he tried to help and he was running away, and it was just.
Cinta was loyal to the end at the detriment of her own happiness with Vel. Yeah. And then when they're finally reunited, that's when it gets ripped away. And I hate seeing the price of war in Star Wars, but I also love it.
Me too. And it kind of, I mentioned earlier a comparison between Vel and Cinta and Bix and Cassian, where Cinta sacrificed her love of Vel to be with the rebellion. It was too late for her to switch it up and be like, okay, no, I love Vel. I'm gonna stick with you over the rebellion, even though I'm still with the rebellion. I'm focusing you. I chose this job for you, and it kind of gets to comparison to the Cassian angle. Like Cassian is not willing to sacrifice the rebellion for Bix, or Bix for the rebellion. I mean, for him, they're one and the same. I'm killing anybody that sees us because you are with me. The rebellion is with me, but I'm saying no to the Gorman. I'm doing stuff like this because I love you, Bix. So I'm very curious to see the progression of that in the next arc of Cassian and Bix's relationship, where that goes. Are we going to have more friction as things heat up? I'm very curious, But like you said, I think the beauty of the Cassian Bix storyline for them is that, like, despite the hiccups, despite the struggles, the arguments, it's all based on love, devoted 100% warm love. So yeah, this whole arc was outstanding. It ends in tragedy for one side, ends in triumph for Clea and Luthen on the other. But we are seeing cracks. Luthen is having a hard time handling Bix and Cassian, even though he does give Bix that, we missed it, but the whole Gorst assassination job was stunning.
Yeah.
I love in the shadows, she just appears and Gorst like, who the fuck are you? The fact that he doesn't even remember her. Like, how many people have you tortured, dude? And then she doesn't kill him or doesn't shoot him. She puts the headphones on him, cranks the volume up, and then just walks away, and Cassian's out there in the shadows. Boom, baby!
I adore this. This is because not only did he get blown up, he died suffering.
Yeah.
This is very, as barbaric as that sounds, he's fucking a monster. So this was wonderful retribution for the pain that he's been inflicting. That also affects him, which I'm like, okay, so this is terrible, you fuck.
Yeah, fuck.
And I don't think it's just like the piercing volume. I think it's genuinely like you're going to listen to the suffering. You're literally listening to hell as you go up in flames. That is the most sad. And I was like re-looking at Bix's face when she's walking off. She's smiling. She's happy.
Oh, yeah, she's so happy. Like she should be. She wanted to be active. She wanted to move around, and it just so happened that it perfectly aligned with the ghost of her past.
Yeah.
So it was a great melting pot of events there, and so good, so cool, so great, so justified.
Yeah, absolutely, so satisfied. I do kind of call back to your idea of like if they can trace it back, because like they blew up the floor that the doctor was on, but as Bix was walking out, she shoots an officer.
True.
In the lobby.
Yeah.
I assume it was the lobby. Or wherever she was exiting, and that body might still be there.
Yeah, I feel like there's just going to be a lot of like, this was risky on Coruscant again. So
unless it was all on the same floor, but if not, then
it's easy for the ISB to look back to like who knew about this project, who on the cameras was killed by who, but they're so good with the camera angles. Like Cassian and Bix are too smart for that. So
yeah, Cassian especially, he like the scene where like, can we go for a walk in this area? It's like, well, they just put in cameras. Oh, cover up. It's like, try somewhere else.
So
But yeah,
I'm just worried, and I'm interested to see where the cracks for Luthen go moving forward. Are they happy now because Luthen gave them this job, or are there going to be more hurdles along the way?
I think Luthen's fine unless he starts telling a story about his past of someone he cared about. Then he's gonna die.
Don't do that, Luthen. But yeah, this was an excellent arc. This was a great arc, and I'm excited to see what the next arc is. A lot of people who have seen every episode says the next arc is their magnum opus for Andor. So
definitely Gorman stuff, right?
Definitely Gorman stuff. Definitely Mon leaving the Senate for once, or once and for all. We know we get more Bail Organa. In the trailer, we saw Clea with her hair down, looking worried. I'm like, oh, what's going on there?
Any idea where you would expect K2 to pop up?
Doing this. K2, right? I have no idea.
You think we'll find him on Gorman?
On Gorman? No, I think that'll be a different planet.
Okay.
But I have no idea where. But yeah, this is gonna be fun. Great stuff. That's about it, though. That's about it.
Did you have you said you were going to save it for this one. Did you have publishing stuff you wanted to talk about? Or?
Thank you. This is why I pay Nathan the big bucks, guys. My quick thought was just that, like, at the publishing panel, the cool thing that was revealed is that there's more Knights of Ren being introduced this year, which is very exciting. We already know we have the Legacy of Vader comic coming out, or that is currently running by Charles Soule. 3 issues have been released. They are really, really good, delivering on Kylo's internal struggles post Last Jedi, following his like defeat from Luke, but also his loss of losing Rey. So it's very good. He's full on anger. Where does Vader get that anger? That kind of leads him to going to Mustafar, the source of Vader's anger and pain and defeat. But also leads him to go to Tatooine, because maybe Vader's anger came from his love, which was, located on Tatooine. So he goes to Tatooine, and then he gets kidnapped. So now he's kidnapped by one of the Hutts on Tatooine, and he's chained up, and he's like going through his memories, and it's awesome stuff. We have biker Kylo Ren in his like camouflage outfit stuff that he wore in the Rise of Kylo Ren comic. So that's like that camouflage era continued.
So you're saying,
yeah,
he's looking to get more power from his anger. He believes Anakin must have gotten that from his love.
Yes.
He's just lost Rey.
Yes.
You think he's looking through that influence of loss, meaning he loved Rey?
It was funny because he was like, Kylo idolized Vader, but I think it was somebody telling him it was just like Vader got a lot of his power from the people he loved and lost, and a lot of his anger. Kylo doesn't have that. Kylo's anger comes from a different source of like regret and isolation. But it's still interesting tracking Kylo's movements and his anger. We know in other issues like he might visit Naboo maybe. So I'm just very curious. But again, Knights of Ren talk. One of the upcoming issues later this summer, towards the end of the summer, I think August, September, issue number 8, he meets another Knights of Ren who is wearing the Ren's mask. Ren is the person that Kylo kills to become the leader of the Knights of Ren in the Rise of Kylo Ren comic. But this one seems to be like a female, and she's wearing like a mask, and it's like, who is this new Knight of Ren? Why does she want to kill Aunt Kylo? The synopsis for the comic mentioned her wanting to become the leader of the Knights of Ren. I'm like, somebody's vying for power here. I have no idea what's happening, but it's very, very, very curious. That's in the canon storyline. There was also a post Last Jedi comic or manga coming out. This was revealed during the manga panel. I think this is also canon, but it's called Path of the Lightsaber manga. This girl comes across a hidden Jedi temple, and she is followed by this like Knight of Ren, who is like wearing like this spooky armor that can only be conveyed coolly in a manga. It looks so cool. But the lead writer said like he got to create his own Knight of Ren and the Knight of Ren's lightsaber, and that there'll be a main antagonist for this Path of the Lightsaber manga. So that's gonna be very cool. Not a lot of information about that one at all compared to the other one, but yeah, it's just that we're getting 2 Knights of Ren coming out this year. Also revealed, like literally 2 days ago, we're getting a Finn and Janna book post episode 9, written by Kwambe something, an African writer who first got their start writing a short story in Star Wars. They've been a writer before, but in Star Wars specifically, in the Return of the Jedi point of view book, I think, or Empire, one of those. They wrote a short story there. But either way, they're writing a Finn and Janna book about stormtroopers. They're tracking down a trooper transport.
Yeah, they're hunting the commander that is in charge of kidnapping and indoctrinating the stolen children into the First Order.
Yeah. I didn't know exactly, but yeah, 100% what Nathan said, guys. And again, I mentioned now I wish we got most of the storyline in TROS itself. I wish TROS had more of a Finn Stormtrooper storyline going on there. But I'm glad that we're finally getting that story in a book. And hopefully this is the start of more post-TROS books. We know both Starfighter is post-TROS and the Rey movie is post-TROS, and then Simon Kinberg trilogy is post-TROS. So we're getting a lot of post-TROS material. Hopefully Lucasfilm is leaning towards making more books in that era.
Yeah. I'm happy it's with a main trilogy character.
Yeah, and Finn. Yeah, and Janna, of course, too. Remember there was Janna's, daughter of Lando? Was that a thing? Was that true?
That was a theory. It may not be the actual situation. He was going to help her find her heritage.
Okay.
So it would probably be separate, but a helping hand from Lando, which I'm all about. I do want to expand on Janna very much. I would also love to do it in the movies. It's unfortunate Naomi Ackie only came in at the tail end because she's a really good actress.
She's having a great year. She was great in last year's
Blink Twice.
What's it called? Blink Twice. She was great in this year at Sundance. I saw my favorite movie at Sundance was called Sorry Baby, which the trailer did come out this year. It's called Sorry Baby. It's coming out in July. Very, very hard-hitting drama. She plays the best friend to the main character. When something happens to the main character, very tragic and heartbreaking. And Janna is like the perfect best friend. But then she was also not Janna, Naomi Ackie. And then Naomi Ackie was great in Mickey 17, so she's killing it. She's killing it.
Right on, man. And
those are some of the book news. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, like I said, I'll be excited to see more of Finn's journey post-TROS. Will they dive into any Force sensitivity? We'll see.
I didn't even think of that. Oh boy. Ray! I gotta tell you something.
We're past that.
Damn it! Chewie, goddamn it, Ray! Fuck, why'd you do that? Damn it! Fuck!
I respect the hell out of John Boyega, but I do sit and wonder. I'm like, how did you not care for your story in The Last Jedi? But that was chill.
But this storyline was it for you.
Which he has answered someone who called him on the same thing, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Like he gave a response. He said, like, yeah, that's my opinion. I'm like, okay, cool.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah, fair. You got me.
It is funny when I did hear that though, because I was just imagining like Rian Johnson must be like so like caring of his thoughts though. Like there's no way he's just like malicious about me writing Finn this way.
Right? I thought Finn's arc was so much fun and insightful.
I liked it a lot.
I still find it like Rose is like fighting what you hate, not saving what you hate, not fighting what you hate, saving what you love. Whatever, you know what the quote.
Not fighting what we hate, but saving what we love.
Thank you. Yeah, I find that part of the storyline just so compelling. I still use it whenever I'm reading a book or a TV show or movie. Like that line from that storyline always comes back.
TLJ has like you can make like a top 10 of wisdom from that movie, and
oh yeah, for sure,
they're all timers.
Let's watch it again. Commentary round 2.
What if we did it while we had some drinks?
That'd be fun. But okay, that's all. Find me on Twitter, HarrisEV9. This went longer than I expected, but each of these arcs are going to get more in depth and more insightful as we get on. So yeah, halfway through the season already. Yeah. How about you?
Follow me _Time Blazer, making a show called Time Blazer with co-star and creative consultant Evan Harris.
Playing Ben, the best goddamn character in his universe.
He's up there. I like to think he has the coolest use of powers. So, you know, look at you. Number one over the main character. All right. Creative consultant, and then all the notes are like, put more of me. Happy birthday. That being said, if you guys enjoyed there you go. If you guys enjoyed this picture, like, subscribe down, ring the bell so you miss coverage and all things Star Wars. And that being said, I hope you have a great day. Enjoy your May the 4th. Enjoy your Revenge of the 5th. We'll see you guys next time.